will guide us. Gawande ma'am will guide us through the evolution, themes, and significance of science fiction. Let's extend a warm uh, welcome to Gawande ma'am as we embark on her exciting intellectual journey. Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Navle sir. And now the ball is in your court. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for your witty remark regarding the construction and deconstruction of our college under the visionary leadership of our principal, Dr. Gopal Kakle sir, and the way you have introduced the today's resource person, Snehandari Gawande ma'am, is equally worth considerable. So on behalf of the entire organizing committee, on behalf of the stakeholders of Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Rajmata Jijau College and the Department of Languages and Literature, most particularly English Department, we humbly invite Dr. Snehandari Gawande ma'am to have a detailed lecture on the topic scientific perspective in the literary corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralikar. Friends, we are very familiar to the substantial contribution of Dr. Jayant Naralikar in the field of science, but his contribution in the field of literature is equally vibrant, equally helpful. Unfortunately, Indian society is dominated by superstition. Let us find out some antidote and panacea in the literary corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralikar. With this precise introduction, I humbly invite today's resource person, Dr. Snehandari Gawande ma'am. Please feel free and have a detailed lecture. Dr. Snehandari Gawande ma'am, the request ball is in your court. Please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Balaji Navle sir, for my precise introduction, and Honorable Chairperson Dr. Gopal Kakre sir, Principal Rajmata Jijau Mahavidyalaya, Kille Dharu, Organizing Secretary Dr. R.R. Deshmukh, and Dr. Balaji Navle sir, Professor and Head Department of Rajmata Jijau Mahavidyalaya, respected teachers, students, and my dear friends. A very good morning and warm welcome to my online guest lecture, organized by Marathwada Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Rajmata Jijau Mahavidyalaya Kille Dharu, Department of English Language and Literature, Rajmata Jijau Lecturer Series. I, Snehashri Pundlikrao Gawande, would like to give a precise presentation on scientific perspective in the literary corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralkar. Dr. Jayant Naralkar was well known uh, for everyone here uh, who are in the science fictions study. So today we precisely studied and I give you a presentation on scientific corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralkar. So, uh, in the growth and development of Indian science fiction, Dr. Jayant Narkar has emerged a landmark and rather a father of modern science fiction due to his substantial contribution in the field of science and science fiction. Dr. Jayant Narkar was born on July 1938 in Kolhapur, Maharashtra. He received his early education in the campus of Banaras Hindu University, BHU, where his father, Vishnu Vasudeva Naralkar, was the professor and head of mathematics department. His mother, Sumati Naralkar, was a Sanskrit scholar. After a brilliant career in a school and college, Naralkar got his BSc degree at BHU in 1957 and he went on a Cambridge for higher studies, becoming a Wagler and Dyson medalist in the mathematical tripod. Uh, Navle sir,
Yes, please continue.
sir, please allow me to share my PPT.
Yes, yes. Just 1 minute.
Okay, sir.
Now you are a co-host. You can share, please.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. I think some problem is here, sir. Can I can I go ahead without PPT? Hello. Navle, sir. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, quite audible and visible also.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. So yes, we start with he got his Cambridge degree in mathematics, BA 1960 and PhD in 1963, MA in 1964 and SD in 1976, but specialized in astronomy and astrophysics. He distinguished himself as a Cambridge with the Smith's Prize and in 1962 the Adams Prize in 1967. He later stayed at Cambridge till 1972 as the Fellow of King's College in 1963 and founder staff member of the Institute and Theoretical Astronomy 1966-72 during the period. He laid the foundation of his research work in cosmology and astrophysics in collaboration with the mentor and Fred Hoyle. Narlikar returns to India to the join Tata Institute of Fundamental Research in 1972 and 1989, where under his charge the theoretical astrophysics groups and expanded and acquired international standing. In 1988, the University Grants Commission invited him to set up the proposed Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics IUCAA as the founder director. He held the directorship and IUCAA until his retirement in 2003. Under his direction, IUCAA has acquired a worldwide reputation as a center for the excellence in teaching and research in astronomy and astrophysics. He is now professor as IUCA in 2012. The Third World Academy of Science awarded their him their prize for the setting up a Center for Excellence in Science. In 1966, Naralikar married Mangla Rajwade. She is PhD in mathematics. They have three daughters, Geeta, Girija, and Leelavati, of all whom have opted for the research career in science. Naralikar is internationally known for his work in cosmology, for championing models alternative to the popularly believed Big Bang model. He was president of the Cosmology Commission of the International Astronomical Union from 1994 to the 1997. His work has been on the frontiers of gravity and math principle, a quantum cosmology, and action at the distinct physics. He was also worked on problems related to quasars and black hole, etc. He was received several national and international award and honorary doctorate. He is a Bhatnagar awardee as well as a recipient of MP Birla Award and the Prix Janssen of the French Astronomical Society and an associate of Royal Astronomical Society of London. He is the fellow of the three National Science Academy as well as the Third World Academy of Science. Apart from the scientific research, Narlikar has been well known as a science communicator through his books, articles, and radio TV programs. He is also known for his science fiction stories. For all these efforts, he was honored by the UNESCO in 1996 with the Kalinga Award for the popular science work. Narlikar has broken a new ground in space research since 1999. He has been heading a multi-international and team of scientists pioneer experiments designed to sample air at heights of up to 41 kilometers to look for the microorganism. Biological studies of the sample collected in 2001 and 2005 led to finding of live cells and bacteria, thus opening of the integral possibility that the earth is being bombarded by microorganisms, some of which might have seeded life itself here. Further experiments are under plan. Narayikar was a decorated Padma Bhushan in 1965 at the young age of 26. In 2004, he was awarded Padma Vibhushan, and in 2011, the government of the state of Maharashtra honored him with the state highest civilian award of Maharashtra Bhushan in 2014. The Sahitya Academy, the premier literary body in India, selected his autobiography for its highest prize in regional language Marathi writing. He was been selected as the chairperson of advisory group for the textbook in the science and mathematics distributed by NCRT, and he is also elected as a president of a 19th All India Marathi Literary Meet. He has synthesized a scientific and literary value and principle through his thought experimented science corpus. During the last 5 decades, Professor Jayant Naralkar has written a lot of book research paper, articles and stories among his 148 published books. Dr. Jayant Naralkar has written 77 and 22 books have been elected by him, and his 49 books have been translated into Indian and other prominent foreign languages. Dr. Jan Narlikar writings is published in 19 languages, 127 in Indian and 21 foreign languages, and thus 148 books by Dr. Jan Narlikar published in Indian and foreign languages, uh, which is the list of books are available on the website of Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, IUCAA, Pune, Maharashtra, India. The world of science fiction is explored in detail with an emphasis of Dr. Jen Naralikar's contribution to the genre of science fiction. A science fiction is distinguished genre because it focuses two different worlds, the world of literature and the world of science. Having briefly explored the broad area of the genre of science fiction, the mutual relationship between literature and science, origin and definition of the science fiction, the interrelationship among science fiction and the other forms of literature. The scientific and the science fiction as a genre, the love-hate relationship between science and science fiction, history of science fiction with the respect of both male and women traditions with differences and similarities regarding their treatment to the genre and the overall importance of science fiction. Dr. Jayant Naralekar, science fiction, abbreviated as a science fiction or sci-fi, is the distinguished literary genre. Rather, it is essentially a literary form and not a branch of a science. It is a form of a fiction that deals primarily with the effect of actual or imagined scientific development on human beings. It is a wide genre of fiction that often include a speculations of current or future science or technology. In a science fiction technology, while theoretically possible, it is not yet practical. It is a form of fiction that draws imaginatively on scientific knowledge or speculation. It depicts either utopian or a dystopian picture of the past or the future world, but the present concern. It is a form of writing in which a writer explores unforeseen possibilities of the past or the future by using scientific facts and theories. It includes short stories, novels, poetry, and dramas that have a scientific core and fictional accounts of events based on the core. It is a type of narrative about the base upon real or imagined scientific theories and technologies. It is often people with the aligned creature. It includes the hardcore, imaginative, embellished, technological, and scientific novel as well as fiction that are even slightly futuristic, often with the after the Holocaust, millennium, nuclear environment, and extraterrestrial and genealogical, and this fiction deals with the effect of factual or imagined science on science society or individuals. Novel of this kind which suppose a technology or an effect of the technology or distinguish in the natural order such as humanity which up to the time of writing is not in actual fact been experienced. It is a literary genre that is concerned with the effect of scientific and technological background. So, upon the human and depict forthcoming scenarios of the science and technology development without a contradicting the presenting and understanding of the science and technology. SF deals with the possible, that is, hard SF deals with the hardware, while a soft SF deals with the wetware. And the best science fiction, however, deals with the both aspects applying the science to human behavior and the systems. The success of science fiction depends on its ability to appear a possible and the things such a prose in the literary format to explain principle of science and layman stories of how discoveries are made. Merely fantasy and fiction without scientific touch, fiction based on inaccurate or a pseudoscience may be the include under the title as science fiction according to scholars and critics. Dr. Jayant Naralikar's life mate, Dr. Mangla Naralekar, are an eminent mathematician known for the groundbreaking book Gargi is Still Alive and the three dynamic, well studied daughter Geeta Girija and Leelavati. Dr. Jayant Naralekar introduced science perspective in society and to the last thought his thought experimented science fiction corpus. So Dr. Jayant Naralikar's short stories has explored the major and minor themes in the notable science fiction short stories of Dr. Jayant Naralekar like The Trojan Horse, The Guest, The Return of Woman from the Other World, The Gift of Yakshas, The Message from Architaras, and miracle of the time machine when the sun got angry, Bhasmasur in the space, the adventure, a comic adventure, tale of future, the comic explosion, seven wonders of cosmos, the one who was sent, and in his SF corpus, Dr. Jen Naralkar has skillfully fictionalized thought experiment in his short fiction stories, Yakshachi Dengi in the Gift of Gods. With the corpus, the early days of computer science when there were very few computers. These are early computers occupied huge spaces and their speed was very slow. In the story, the protagonist meets a survey gentleman who promises to give him an advanced computer on certain conditions. Dr. Jen Naralkar has cleverly used thought experiment techniques to describe the reaction of the protagonist, colleague, and scientists from the eminent universities to the super fast advanced computer. He imagined the aim used to which such a supercomputer could be put to use. But such a fantastic computer seemed too good to be true. To know the true intention of the computer wizard, the secret discovered by the protagonist, and how a catastrophe is adverse. In the Krishna Vivar, a black hole, Dr. Naralkar has fictionalized the technique of prediction to speculate on the word on what would happen if a man traveled toward a black hole. It is a well-known fact that as one travels closer to the speed of light, time slows down for the traveler. If such a traveler was to return to the earth, what would be the implications? Here, Dr. Jan Naralkar not only enumerate the physical consequences of such a time travel, but also its effect on human mind and many emotional and technical questions it would arise. Dr. Jen Naralkar has fictionalized the phenomenon described by George Gamow is his book 123 Infinity. In his book, Gamow uses the Mobius band to move a two-dimensional organism through three-dimensional space. The Mobius band is flat and twisted at a point. Dr. Naralkar speculates what would happen if there is a such twisted point in the three-dimensional space. In a postulate that three-dimensional creatures like us go through such a twist in a space, they will move through four dimensions and turn into their mirror image. The story revolves around one such a person who has turned into his mirror image. Would such a person gain unnatural power in his left hand? The implications seem to be endless. Gangadhar Panthachi the Adventure, Gangadhar Panta's Panipat. The Adventure is the classic time travel tale where Dr. Jan Karalikar explores the possibility of alternative history. It is often said that the Maratha army won the Third Battle of Panipat, which took place in 1761. The history of India would have been different. Dr. Naralkar explores the possibility through the eyes of Professor Gangadhar Panthu, who is transported to a parallel universe where Mumbai is a British ruled state, whereas the rest of India has developed under the Maratha rule. It is interesting. It is an interesting world with the modern amenities, but cultural ethos of an India that never experienced any Western rule. Comets is the story that juxtaposes a scientific temper against the superstition. A comet is a set to collide with the Earth, and the scientists of the world unite to counter the implementing danger. However, the protagonist's wife continued to believe that danger would only be averted by the performing a religious rituals. The question, would the danger be arrived if only one of those paths is followed. It has fictionalized by Dr. Jayant Naralekar in Return of the Travels. Dr. Naralekar tackled the possibility of the human race. Many has perished in one of the snow ages after reaching a high degree of civilization and then started again from start. If a few humans had escaped that destructions by the taking refuge in outer space and if they returned to the present day Earth, what would the man on the street think about the existence? What have happened if few advanced humans had not left Earth? Such vital questions have fictionalized by Dr. Jayant Naralkar in Out of Sight. Imagine a civilization that lives underground on Mars. The Martians the Martians are totally unaware about the existence of life on the Earth. When they spot the first Mars lander spaced by the people on Earth, they are afraid and hide all signs of their civilization from it. As the consequence, the rover concludes that there is no life on Mars. Imagine what we have been made to believe if this story were true. The stone. Dr. Naralekar has fictionalized the technique of prediction to describe an aligned encounter and its possible consequences on the life on Earth. What would be man reaction? A species that look a commonplace as a stone but possesses an intelligence far superior to that of human beings. And how long it will make human as assess its intelligence and its purposes. So the conclusion is almost scary. Blaze motherhood. Dr. Nararikar explores man's tendency to the interfere with the nature for his own greed. A scientist discovers a formula to select the gender of unborn child. Would he be willing to plunder the wishes of the selfish world? And what would he need to do? Ensure the natural balance of gender in future. In the in the tri in the Trojan horse and undefined spacecraft and approaching the Earth. It resembles the pioneer. It resembles the pioneer team sent out of from the Earth in 1972, while the rest of the world is wondering how this ancient explorer has returned to the Earth. A clever scientist decodes the real nature of the seemingly harmless spacecraft. The story almost reads like a detective decoding a forensic case. And the last opinion explores what would happen if the technological progress goes on unhindered. And what if man discovers a source of unlimited energy? Would the world turn into a utopia? Or would such a blissful existence have a fatal flaw? The return of woman provides a glimpse into the artificial intelligence and its dangers. The cosmic explosion deals with the information about the exploding star left behind by our ancestor, ignored by the modern man on his own peril. Dr. Jayant V. Narlikar, the Ice Age Command, is the representative science fiction short stories in respect of the theme of thought experimentation. As an eminent science scientist, Dr. Narlikar has fictionalized science in his short stories, science fiction short stories. Dr. Naralikar's The Ice Age Command is the first written in Marathi name as Himpralaya. as it is translated by Dr. Naralkar himself into English. It is notable science fiction short story. In this story, he makes a thought experiment of a invention of Indra to save the earth. Though the eyes of Vasant Chitnis, the main character in his story, he shows the upcoming major disaster of Ice Age. A Vasant Chitnis shows the sunlight being blocked by the diamond just emanating from the volcanic eruption and the terrifying possibilities of sudden ice age. The snowfall causes havoc, and almost all over the world, people suffered too much. He suggested experiment of invention of Indra. This invention, this invention carries the ambitious plan of bombarding the atmosphere with a tiny metallic particle. This particle would absorb the sun heat and transfer it into the earth down below. The volcano eruption that has settled in the atmosphere and reflect the sun rays away from the earth would have percolated down. The newly injected metallic particle would undo the damage done by them. But this is not enough to reduce the diamond dust need to hit the atmosphere so that the use of explosive it's essential in this story. Jan Naralkar not only shows the natural disaster but also the solution of the disaster with the proper conversation of the nature. A science fiction of Dr. Jen Naralkar help us to dream often about a more advanced way of life, of achieving things beyond our physical capabilities. At times, his science fiction stories also caution us to about the perils of such a scientific advances. And the corpus of Dr. Jen Naralkar is full of thought experiments seeking out a reality that may return out to be true in the future or may give rise to new way of looking it into the working of nature. Thinking is a gift enjoyed only by humans. When specially gifted, humans use a structured thinking to solve the riddles of nature. It has the potential to take human to newer horizon. A journey of Indian science fiction and science fiction with the vision of the millennium. My Tales of Four Cities has explored the major minor themes in My Tales of Four Cities, a distinguished and thought experiment autobiography of Jayant Naralkar. The Four Cities referred into in the title of Banaras, Cambridge, Bombay, and Pune happened to the four cities where Dr. Nararikar spent most of the life, although his work has taken him to 50 countries around the world. My Tale of Four Cities is the English version of the Naralikar's autobiography. चार नगरातले माझे विश्व, written originally in Marathi. The book is divided into four parts. The first part represents the early years 1 to 19 in Banaras, Varanasi. It covers a time span between 1938 to 1957 and includes the thematic contents like roots and early memories, school years, family life in BHU, summer vacation in Kolhapur college days, and preparation for Cambridge. The second part of the autobiography describes the author's stay in Cambridge, England, first as a student and the continuing as a Cambridge Don. It includes the time span 1957 to 1972 and thematically divided into content like a passage to England setting in the Cambridge. The first year at Cambridge, traveling around, the year of the Wagler, and the final undergraduate year, embarking on the research, the return of the native research and controversy working for the Smith Prize fellow of the kings, a dawn's life, a matter of gravity, and unprecedented welcome. When two hands become four, a householder in Cambridge, house and family, and bye bye Cambridge. The third part covers the 200 months in Bombay, that is until the year 1989 when the author moved to Pune. It includes the time span 19 it includes the time span 1970 to 1989 and thematically divided into content like back to the next, a lesson in coexistence, visit abroad, and household issues, public outage, the Nehru Planetarium working in TIFR, some memorable uh, occasion, SAC PM, and TIFR. The final days, the fourth part describes the post 1989 period in Pune, which include the author major achievement of creating a scientific institution of unique kind. It includes the time span 1989 to 2003 and thematically divided into the content like the birth, IUCAA decided, and IUCAA heading for the retirement, and the looking back known as a inter-university center for astronomy and astrophysics. This almost unique institution has already made a name internationally. The event, ambience, and personalities that played the significant role in the author's life appears as the description unfolds. The author recalls his interaction and distinguished personalities like the philosopher R. Radhakrishnan and the writer E. M. Foster, a scientist like Fred Hoyle and Paul Dere, and S. Chandrasekhar, politicians like Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, and Rajiv Gandhi, musicians like Narayan Rao Vyas, and architect Karl Korea, etc. His time span, as described here, covers the period 1938 to 2003, a period when there were significant changes in India on the political front or on the technological front and on the educational front also. A scientific perspective of Dr. Jen Nararikar, science fiction works upon a various avenue uh, for the research student, especially for the student in the areas that interest with the literature, science fiction, science, culture, humanities, and social critics. As a writer from India, Dr. Jan Nararikar science fiction, often a eminent of Indian culture, history, mythology, and a comparative study could explore how the work engaged with the global science fiction tradition while also contributing a distinct Indian perspective on science, technology, and the future with a few research questions, such as how does Jan Nararikar, Dr. Jan Nararikar work contribute to the global science fiction genre, particularly in the term of non-Western perspective? What is the significance of integrating Indian culture elements, mythological motifs, and philosophical thoughts into a genre traditionally dominated by Western authors? How does Dr. Jayant Narayakar negotiate the tension between global scientific discourse and the local culture tradition in the speculative narratives? Further, thematic research into Dr. Jayant Naraykar's science fiction can reveal rich intersections among the literature, science fiction, science philosophy, society, and the culture. His work offers a unique perspective, especially when viewed through the lens of the post-colonialism and cosmology and ethics, making them fertile ground for the interdisciplinary study. By enlarging his exploration of scientific concepts, human dilemmas, and the ethical implications of ethological advances, researchers can contribute valuable insights to both the field of science fiction and science itself. Dr. Jayant Naralekar, an Indian astrophysicist, is well known for the contribution to both science and science fiction. His approach to science fiction integrates scientific principle, and speculative idea in the way of encourages readers to explore scientific concepts while also delving into philosophical and existential questions. His works often blur the line between science and imagination, leading to the deeper appreciation of both. The context of Dr. Jen Nararikar works, the scientific perspective refers to the incorporation of established scientific principle into the narrative and alongside a speculative and futuristic element. Dr. Jen Nararikar fiction is often rooted in the real scientific theories such as cosmology, astrophysics, the nature of time and span. His stories tend to explore a hypothetical scenario or alternative universe while staying grounded in the scientific possibilities. For Dr. Jayant Naralekar, science fiction is not just about the imagination or adventure in distinct world. It's a genre that encourages exploration of scientific ideas, technological processes, and the and their potential consequences. His work often challenges current understanding, proposing new hypotheses or framework that push the boundaries of human knowledges. Naralikar's science fiction is built on the foundation of actual science knowledge, particularly in the field of cosmology, astrophysics, and the theory of relativity. At the same time, he engages his speculative elements, introducing futuristic technology, time travel, or alternate realities that are scientifically possible within the bound of current understanding. While his stories may seem fantastically often, they often unfold within a logical framework. Naralkar is known for carefully constructing plots and scientific principle yet allow for the speculation about the phenomena beyond our present comprehension. This creates a sense of scientific realism in the narrative. Many of Dr. Jan Naralkar works blend scientific concept with philosophical inquiries about the existence, the nature of reality, and the humanity place in the universe. His fiction often touches on the themes such as the organic and the universe, the role of consequences, and the ethical implications of scientific advancement. A recurring theme in Dr. Jayant Naralkar works is the nature of time and space. His stories often explore the possibility of time travel, alternate timelines, or multiple dimension concept grounded in the theoretical physics. He presents these ideas not just as exciting plot divides but opportunities to question the nature of reality itself. Narrative stories frequently reflect the impact of scientific process on society. The consequences of scientific discoveries, where positive or negative, are explored in depth. This often involves speculative technologies or uh, breakthroughs that could radically after the human life. Dr. Jen Naralkar placed a strong emphasis on the scientific accuracy. in his work, even when introducing a speculative or the futuristic concepts that rise or remain faithful to known laws of physics and scientific theories. This ensures that even the more fantastical element of his stories remain possible and engaging from the scientific standpoint. There is an invaluable value in the scientific perspective constructed and deconstructed in the Dr. Jen Naralikar's science fiction. Dr. Jen Naralikar's work serves as a bridge between complex scientific concepts and the general public. By weaving accurate scientific theories into his fiction, he makes abstract or difficult scientific ideas more accessible. Readers are introduced to important a scientific principle in an engaging and entirely way, a fostering curiosity and intellectual growth. Dr. Jen Naralikar's science fiction encourages readers, especially young people, to engage with the world of science. The speculative nature of the story sparks scientific imagination, motivating readers to think critically about the future of science and technology as well as their potential for solving global challenges. By using science fiction as a platform for the philosophical exploration, Naralikar's works stimulate deeper reflection on the ethical issues in science, such as the consequences of scientific advancement and the potential danger of unchecked technological progress, and the moral implications of innovation like time travel, genetic engineering, and artificial intelligence. One of the most aspects of Nararikar's science fiction is the ability to blur the boundaries between the fact and the imagination. By doing so, his works fosters a deeper understanding for the relationship between science and creativity. This perspective encourages readers to see science not just as a fixed set of facts, as a living, evolving field in which the imagination and speculations by play an important role. Dr. Jen Nararikar fictions often presents readers with the questions that don't have easy answers. By examining the limits of human knowledge and the potential for scientific discovery, his works inspire critical thinking about the future of science and the universe and the very nature of reality. As an astrophysicist, Jan Naralkar is invested in the pushing the boundaries of scientific knowledges. His science fiction often challenges current paradigms, inviting readers to think beyond present day limitations, whether addressing the multiverse theory, cosmological evaluation, and alternate dimension. Dr. Jan Taralikar encourages readers to imagine new possibilities for science and its exploration. Thus, Dr. Jan Naralikar's science fiction is distinctive in the seamless integration of scientific rigor with the imaginative storyline. By using a scientific perspective, his works not only entertain but also educate and inspire readers to think carefully about the implications of scientific progresses and the masterpiece of the universe. His contribution helps to show how science and fiction can coexist to explore both the known and the unknown, pushing the boundaries of human understanding and imagination. Science fiction, a distinguished genre, remains a transnational, uniting the entire world for the positive growth and progress anytime and any part of the world. If the aim of science is promote human welfare, then science fiction by exploring the counters of imagination remain a substantial mode of the value of the cause. As an offspring of the literature and science fiction practices the subtle relationship between science and literature by destroying the conventional shoreline between things. Science fiction has case and its shoreline and has become an interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary branch of literature. By imagining other world and possible future, the genre allows us to view our present day situation with a greater detachment and perspective. Science and the scientific exploration have a global relevance applicable to the universal humanities. Therefore, uh, science fiction remained a transnational, uniting the entire world for the positive growth and progress anytime, any part of the world. If the aim of the science is to promote human welfare, then science fiction, by exploring the counters of imagination, remains substantial more on the value of this cause. Science fiction explores the world of science pursuit and retreat with the faculty of imagination. The developed nation of the first world has made a material progress only to help of scientific exploration. The third world countries like India needed exploration of science for the betterment of humanity. The science fiction, as presented by Dr. Jen Naralkar with the aid of thought experimentation and scientific perspective, has forged a path for the progress of the third world societies in the general and the progress of minority groups, women, subalterns, and the obsessed and the downtrodden in the particular. By and large, in-depth exploration, analysis, interpretation, evaluation, and critical appreciation of Dr. Jan Nararikar, a science perspective, and his Sahitya Academy Award winning autobiography, My Tale of Four Cities, has introduced a vital theme for the individual development, social welfare, and sustainable development of India and the world unto the last as well. These are the most distinguished masterpiece of the science fiction blossom from the wit and wisdom of the genuine of astronomer of international fame, Dr. Jayant Naralkar. Based on the solid foundation of the objective science and entwined in the imaginative narrative from the prehistoric time to the future millennium. Wrapped in the many masterpiece event from the creation of the universe to the apocalyptic nuclear war, seeming like a quick but a strikingly engaging, a rational thought, these science fiction have been leading the reader on the archetypical journey through the past, future, present, as if thought uh, through the time machine, listening to the warning call of the future and constructing and deconstructing awareness with the perpetual scientific perspective, making all the responsible stakeholders and of the world more wise and thoughtful about the present for a vision of millennium. Professor Dr. Jayant Nararikar has effectively fictionalized the archetypical journey of India towards the age of science through the poetics of science fiction. Dr. Jayant Naralkar has been elected uh, unanimously as the chairperson of the 94th All India Marathi Literacy Meet. It was a seminal phenomenon during the last 94 years after the independence of India, which has become a timeless inspiration to construct and deconstruct science originated society being established in the age of science through the science fiction created by eminent writers like Dr. Jayant Naralkar. Popularly known as the reader friendly science fiction writer with an easy, straightforward, witty, and human centered science fiction story with a vision of millennium, Dr. Jayant Naralkar has not only composed a perfect science fiction corpus but also laid down the norms of the excellent science fiction through his own example with a proper criteria of its critical appreciation. The scope of Naralika's science writing is vast, from the science on a postcard, encouraging the innate curiosity of students to expanding the space of all Marathi lovers he has planned for the various group of readers. Still, the Marathi mind is familiar with the Naralikas and mainly a science storytelling. He introduced modern science fiction in Marathi, and since then, with the energy it received, the Marathi science fiction scene has grown to such an extent that today the flow of Marathi science fiction is the deepest and the most rigorous, both qualitatively and quantitatively, than any other Indian languages. It is not that science fiction was not written in Marathi before Naralikas. Bal Bal Bakekar, B.R. Bhagwat, D.B. Pomte, Narayan Dharap are
Hmm.
eminent science fiction
What
writers.
question?
Naralika's science fiction story was different from this because it is human centered. There was little scope for more fantasy in it, so it became more reliable. Readers felt its intimacy. Dr. Jayant Naralkar gave a new dimension to the science fiction. That is why he has attached the attention of not only readers but also famous critics and editors. It is certain that Narelkar's reputations as a scientist also play a role in giving a new direction to the literature. Dr. Jayant Naralikar's stories met all the criteria of the fiction, which is why, despite his anonymity, his story won an award and public attention perpetually. That is why Dr. Jayant Naralkar is being called the father of modern Indian science fiction. But his contribution to the literature is not limited to this, where he wrote a scientific science fiction in this new era, he realized that science fiction is a part of the mainstream of the fiction. In fact, it is the story of tomorrow, a more involved, enca- encouraging of the story, introducing a future reality, an outstanding scholar, a genuine like Durgabai Bhagwat was convinced by this paradigm shift is the literary thought of the Dr. Jayant Naralkar and from the chair of the All Indian Marathi Literary Meet. She acknowledged that and appreciate the innovative contribution of Dr. Jayant Naralkar. Then other also started to take notice of this new trend. Science fiction today has received a great response from editor, publisher, and mainly readers. The credit, the credit, the credit goes also to Dr. Jayant Naralkar. Dr. Jayant Naralkar has also provided and established the ideological foundation to the science fiction with some thought experimented goals and the intention to convey certain message to the reader with the more force, more life. Dr. Jayant Naralkar always planned that an author may have a specific purpose in mind while writing science fiction He may want to convey he may want to convey and integrating scientific idea to the reader but not in the textbook style. On the contrary, if the idea can be presented in the form of stories, the reader will be available to absorb it easily. By refuting Naralika's statement that science fiction is being written for the purpose of teaching, science critics have tried to the slander science fiction as a whole, saying this is not literature. But in doing so, Dr. Jayant Naralkar has used his statement out of context and, uh, and conveniently because he has insisted that science fiction should be a story. It should meet the highest standard of the fine writing, but this has been ignored. Dr. Jayant Naralkar has made this point clear through his stories like Black Hole, which is not a story of black hole, but the impact of its, its properties on the lives of two friends, and the story of the gap created in their emotional life. That story is about people not machine. The story makes the reader believe that these two friends may be living in our area and we may meet them frequently. The subsequent story, Ujwala, Ujva Sondecha Ganpati, brought forward his sense of science fiction more strongly. The scientific idea, which turns into a metaphor, it is a central and that he introduced it to the reader. But the reader is a right-handed cricketer transformed into the left arm. In his final match, it is the story of how the player of the rival team are blown away by his poetry and how he gives his team a resounding victory and conclude his career in glory. Dr. Jayant Narelkar's story also serves to warn about some of the undesirable challenges that scientific research can bring about. The story the story gives its identity. Naralika's foresight realized that the work of fertilizing some of the undesirable practices that have become effective in our society on the basis of idea that we want a son could be done through some scientific research. Naralikas firmly believed that it is the duty of science fiction writer to sound the alarm, and they ought to do the same thing but through a story that make their warning more effective. This is strongly felt in his stories like Him Young, Dhumketu, and the novel like Vaman Paratna Ala and Antaralacha Sports. Naralika's novels have not captured Marathi lover as much as his stories. In fact, his novels are long stories. The structure of Naralika's novel is largely similar to the story in the Putravati Bhava, the social calamity that can arise due to the illegal misuse of a prenatal gender testing technology is taken into consideration. It stands before us today in the fearful state. Dr. Jayant Naralkar also insists that science fiction should be prophetic in this way, but it does not become inferior just because it is not a prophetic. He is also keen that the science behind the scientific story should become reliable in the course of story. Dr. Jayant Naralkar has given deep and logical thought to all part and aspect of science fiction on the thematic level. The science fiction takes by Dr. Jayant Narayakar are the most distinguished masterpiece of modern literature, was blossom from the wit and wisdom of the genuine astronomer of the science, and tweeted an imaginative narrative form of the prehistoric theme to the future millennium. Wrapped in the many masterpieces, events from the creation of the universe to apocalypse and science fiction have been leading the reader on the archetypical journey through the past, future, present, as if through the time machine, listening to the warning call of the future and constructing awareness with the perpetual scientific perspective, making all the responsible stakeholders of the world more wise and thoughtful about the present for a vision of the millennium. Dr. Professor Dr. Jayant Naralekar has effectively fictionalized the archetypical journey of India towards the age of science through the poetic of science fiction. That's why the most promising critic time calls Professor Dr. Jayant Naralekar the internationally renowned astrophysics and a disciple of Sir Fred Hoyle himself, an eminent scientific cum science fiction writer of some distinctions. The perfect science fiction writer has introduced, constructed, deconstructed, and experimented, popularized, enriched, and witty literary world known as a science fiction and the age of science fiction of India. So thank you so much, uh, Honorable Chairperson Dr. Gopal Kakre sir, for allowing me to give and precise presentation on my topic, scientific perspective, scientific corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralekar. Thank you, Dr. Balaji Navle sir, and thank you all the teachers and my dear friends.
Thank you and heartiest congratulations, Dr. Snehandari ma'am, for giving a
Thank you
precise
so much,
lecture.
sir.
The Nobel laureate T.S. Eliot rightly stated that in my end is my beginning. So let us have some discussion, but before that, let us have a precise comment by Dr. Rajdeep Deshmukh sir and Dr. Kailash Akkare sir. Later on, we will have a few question and answer, of course, with your kind consent, Dr. Snehandari ma'am. So I invite
Okay, sir.
Dr. Rajdeep Deshmukh sir. Please have a precise comment.
Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Snehasri, Pundlikrao, Gawande ma'am for such a wonderful lecture. She elaborated the English version of Dr. Jayant Naralikar's autobiography, My Tale of Four Cities. Dr. Jayant Naralkar is a scientist and explained about the people and their interaction with science, along with positive and negative impact on their lives. His scientific perspectives helps research students to develop a scientific view not only in science but also in literature through the global science fiction. He juxtaposed the mythology and science with his writing. It gives an insightful idea of mythology and science. It also shows that literature is not only interdisciplinary but also multidisciplinary field. Madam also explained about the cosmology, futuristic approach, time travel, and scientific discoveries. Scientific accuracy is a key of his literature. Jayant Narikar combined the reality with imagination in his science fiction. He explored the known and unknown things through his writing. And he also tells about the social issues and how it affects on the human lives. He gives the futuristic and scientific approach to these social issues. And I also Thanks, Madam, for opening a fascinating world of science fiction to the students of literature. Thank you, ma'am, and over to novelist.
Thank you, Professor Dr. Rao Sahib Deshmukh sir, Rajdeep Rao Sahib Deshmukh sir. Now, I humbly invite Dr. Kailash Atkare sir, please.
Very good afternoon. I would like to ask a doubt to the today's speaker, Professor Gawande ma'am. Ma'am, you have really covered all the aspects of science fiction as far as Jen Narulika is concerned. But I would like to ask that how science fiction will help us to maintain a balanced ecology for the welfare of human beings, for the welfare of humanity. Do you really think that science fiction will help us to explore ecological issues? What is your perception about it? Ma'am, please.
Yes, sir. I,
Dr.
I,
Kailash Atkare sir, please.
Uh,
hello. Am I audible to you, sir?
Yes, yes. Let us listen the
Yes,
comment
sir.
of Atkare sir first.
Yes, sir. Scientific aspect is completely helping us for the human beings because how Jain Naralkar explain us in his writing that how we balance our life by ecologically means why we accept not wrong things in our personal life and why the way of our life to go forward and appreciate only true things in our life, not on the false thing.
All the participants are being requested to have comment and questions so that we will have a fruitful discussion. Yes, Dr. Kailash, please.
sir, may I continue with or propose? May I propose a science?
Yes, please continue. Okay.
Huh. Once again, Department of English and Rajmata Jijau lecture series towards sustainable development and balanced ecology, the role of humanities, commerce, and science. Such a very apt and a very explorative topic given to us. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and acknowledgement for this wonderful platform to accelerate ourselves in academics and research as well. Before I come to conclusion, sir, I would like to express very deep sense of gratitude to our institute, to our college, and specifically you, the way you have given a platform to newcomer students like us. Sir, thank you so much. I express very deep sense of hearty thanks to Dr. Gopal Principal of Rajmata Jijau Mahavidyalaya. Even I would like to express today the speaker, Professor Gawande sir. She has thoroughly highlighted all the and component aspects, feature characteristics of science fiction from Jen Naralikar's literary corpus point of view. Her enlightening and thought-provoking session was really motivative to all of us. Ma'am, thank you once again. Your insight on Jain Narlikar's literature is really inspiring and moving forward to us. Before I come to conclusion, I would like to take this moment to express my very deepest gratitude and my, my role model and my research supervisor, Professor Navle sir. His unwavering support, lightning guidance, and encouragement have been in research journey not only of mine but students of our generation. Sir, your expertise has not only helped us academically, but also inspired to think critically and push the boundaries of knowledge. Once again, thank you so much for your mentorship, sir, and being there for a common student like us. At the end, last but not the least, all the participants, all the experts, all the scholars, the way you have been here since 1 hour, you have listened very carefully and trying to gain something new about Jain Narlikar and his literary perspective and his literary purpose. Once again, with prior permission of Professor Novle sir, I would like to declare, sir,
Yes, please.
I would like to declare the session is over, and this lecture series will continue throughout this week, and the time will be 10:30 to 11:30. I request all the listeners, all the researchers, students to join this on time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Kailash Atkare sir, for a witty remark. Kindly note that the link will be the same, and we will have to resume the meeting at sharp 11:30 tomorrow onwards for the said week. Dear participants, if you have any question, query, Dr. Swati Zige ma'am, Dr. Rajdeep Deshmukh sir, Dr. Gajendra Pradhan sir, Dr. Atmaram Wankhede sir, Dr. Datta Jadhav sir, Professor Dr. Datta Jadhav sir, Professor N.S. Wagmare sir, Professor Amar Singh Mali sir. If you have any question or query, please feel free to raise your questions regarding the literary corpus of Dr. Jayant Narlikar. Sneha, precisely, would you like to comment on?
Hello.
May not be
Yes, please. Would you like to comment on the women counterpart of Dr. Jayant Narlikar? Sneha, who are these women science
Sir,
fiction?
you are not audible to me.
Who are the women science fiction writers as a counterpart of Dr. Jayant Narlikar? Because the literary trend is dominated by male writers, Dr. Balapanke, Dr. Jayant Narlikar, and many others.
Yes, sir. There are so many science fiction women writers. Archana Miraskar, Kalpana Kulshreshtha, Rekha Baigal, and Salma Gautam, Meghashri Dalvi, Savita Srinivas, Dr. Shantala, Smita Patnis, Dr. Shubhadas Maulik, and Tanushree Ghosh. I know this science fiction woman writer. They are the eminent science fiction woman writer in the era of scientific corpus.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Snehasri. We would like to put on record that today's resource person has break down the so-called orthodoxical boundaries of casteism, sexism, genderism, racism with her own ideal examples. We have interpreted the world theoretically, but practical illustration is the ideal illustration of Dr. Snehasri ma'am. What is your message to all of us? We just preach the scientific perspective, but we forget to practice the scientific perspective. What is your message to the aspiring students, please?
So go through the scientific perspective uh, uh, and create your own ideas to give a society a good message and don't take your boundaries as per the limit and go through Dr. Jayant Narayika's science perspective because he gives us the way, why, and how we believe the science as a life human life balance creator. So we are the creator for the balanced life. We don't have any complex situations to create for the gender discrimination or uh, or the life where we believe. Um, I understand Dr. Balaji Navle's perspective. He is always guiding us for the racism or the discrimination in the gender. So yes, sir, we are believing women writers and the male writers are excellent in our science fiction field to write more, and for the student uh, write different kinds of stories, and we welcome as a scientific writer the new writer as like a Dr. Balaji Navlekar, Dr. Archana Miraskar ma'am, Dr. Jayant Naralekar, Dr. Mangala Naralekar. These are the eminent writers I know, and Dr. Balaji Navle sir is also a well writers, and he wrote about the women writers especially, and it is the proud moment of us for he wrote about the women writers in science fiction. So, sir, please write for us on the scientific aspects for the women writers also. And thank you so much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to discuss these lectures with us.
Thank you, Dr. Snehandari. On behalf of Marathwada
Thank you,
Shikshan Prasarak Mandals, Rajmata Jijau Mahavidyalay, most particularly the Department of English Language and Literature, we put a note of reverence and gratitude to today's resource person. Let us
Thank you so
conclude
much, sir.
here and resume tomorrow's meeting and enjoy the lecture of Dr. Kailash Atkare sir. Once again, thank you all the participants. We are eagerly waiting for you at tomorrow's lecture by Professor Dr. Kailash Atkare sir. Once again, thank you, Dr. Snehasri ma'am, for effective opening the long series in the name of Rajmata Jijau lecture series on sustainable development, that is Shashwat Vikas and balanced ecology, role of humanities, commerce and science. The way you have introduced the scientific perspective in the literary corpus of Dr. Jayant Naralekar has caused a spellbound impact on all of us. So please accept our reverence and gratitude. Thank you very much. With the kind
Thank you, sir.
permission, thank you very much, respected teachers and dear friends. Let us conclude this meeting. If you have any comment, feel free